So let me just say something to you grown adults out here. Even as a kid, okay, when Aries was a kid, I knew being biased and showing favoritism didn't ensure a person winning something or a team winning something just because I wanted them to. Example, if Canelo and Terrence Crawford actually fights, I'm going with Crawford. Now, am I telling you he's going to win? No. In fact, the biggest thing he's going to have to deal with Canelo is if he can take Canelo's punch. Boxing wise, I feel like Crawford is a smarter, sharper boxer for sure. But a lot of times what happens is, even when you move up in weight, it doesn't mean that your power carries over, like you hit harder, nothing like that. Most of the time it doesn't. But what happens is, a guy like Canelo, being used to fighting guys much bigger and stronger than Crawford, okay, Crawford's power probably won't really affect him too much. Now, pinpoint accuracy can make the difference, but let's just be real. Even if you want a guy to win, like for all the people saying Canelo's going to win, for the people that saying it just because you're a Canelo fan, okay, that's no different from a Crawford fan saying he's going to win just because they're a Crawford fan. The reality is, we won't know unless the fight actually happens. And what I'm looking at, for me personally, how I'm looking at it is if he can handle Canelo's power, if he can avoid being hit by the big shots, especially early, and if he can handle his power and he can impose his boxing will, and get those shots, because he's going to have to do more of hit and not be hit to win. But one thing that I do know is that Crawford's legs doesn't get him around that ring the way they used to. Canelo fights in a very patient style. Now, one thing is Crawford's conditioning has shown to be good. Canelo does tire out. But if Crawford can be busy, movement, use his jab, keep it long, work off the long shots, move, and completely prevent Canelo from getting inside, make him miss, make him pay, then he can cruise to a decision. But that's easier said than done. So this has nothing to do with nationality, nothing to do with skin color, ethnicity, in terms of me looking at the fight the way that I'm looking at it. I look at every fight looking at what I feel, not based on who I want to win. So even as a kid, I was doing the same things. And I was looking at fights, and I can tell you fighters winning or losing based on what I saw. I could say, I want this guy to win, right? That doesn't mean that he's going to win just because I want him to win. You guys are sounding like a bunch of little hoes arguing back and forth in comment sections about who's going to win and why. And I bet you, I guarantee you, I know for a fact you don't know shit. I feel like at 168 pounds, Canelo is the clear favorite, whether you want him to win or not. I would rather Crawford win. But once again, this is not as easy as people think it's going to be by no stretch of the mind. And even though Crawford outboxed Madrimov at 154 pounds, he never hit Madrimov with anything that hurt him. He never stunned him. He never, really completely dominated and destroyed this guy. He outboxed him and he won the fight. Now, you never know. A guy can go into the ring and all of a sudden do what he couldn't do last fight. I'm not going by hopes and dreams, wishes and prayers, and just saying things just to say it. We will only know if this fight actually happens. So you guys with this kid logic of trying to make comparisons and bringing up old fights, one thing that people are not looking at, Crawford is 37 years old now, 37, 38, whatever. Canelo's, 35 now? It might be a stink fight. They might both go in there and stink the place up because there's no real fireworks. Who knows? A win is a win. But you guys got to also keep in mind, when you're sitting here comparing what guy did to another guy, you're looking at guys who are in different weight classes. 168 pounds for a guy that's never fought at 168 pounds. It's not going to be what people think in terms of what he's done in the past. And they're looking at, yeah, but look how many times he knocked down Spence. Man, with all due respect, I think Canelo would have destroyed Spence. And I don't think Spence would have been able to get up. Like, I don't see Spence. I see Canelo hits that much harder. And if they were going to fight, it was going to be at 168. And I think that Canelo would knock Errol Spence out. So even though Crawford knocked him down multiple times, completely dominated, you can't take that away. But that was at 147 pounds. This is what you guys are not understanding. And Crawford is not defensively what Floyd was. Not even close. He's good. He has moved. But you got to understand, Floyd was beating him close range, mid-range, and long range. Crawford right now is better off at long range. He's not going to be able to do things the way Floyd did it. It's a different fight. Now, I don't even know if this fight's going to actually happen. But if it does, once again, who you want to win may not necessarily be the one that's going to win. Now, even right now, if I was 12 years old, I would be saying the same exact things that I'm saying now. Talk to me in the comment section, y'all. Never fall in love with lies. Remember, the truth brings hate out of people, and I will catch y'all on the next video.
Now that I've let you speak to the thoughts of my 12-year-old side, let's look at this. Can Terrence Crawford beat Canelo Alvarez? Do I think he has the skill? Yes. Do I think he has the toughness? Possibly. That's what I'm not sure of, is what Crawford can take from a 168-pounder that can punch. Can Canelo Alvarez impose his will on Terrence Crawford and make Crawford pay? This is where I question Canelo. Because one thing that Canelo was doing, you can play stupid and act like you don't see it, but Canelo Alvarez has said he beats Crawford, he gets no credit for it because Crawford's a much smaller guy, and that's what people are going to say. Yet, this is the same man, Canelo Alvarez, that continues to say his dream match is a rematch with Floyd. But, I don't know what I have to do to make a Floyd want the rematch, but I really want that fight. Okay? Guess what? You and Floyd fought 150 plus pounds. Terrence Crawford walks around, he said 170, 180 something pounds, whatever. But yet, Floyd is still much smaller than you are now. But you want just to be able to even the score. Floyd kicked your ass already while you were in your prime. Oh, but he was only 23 years with 40 plus fights. Right? What happens with him using Floyd's name is nothing but a deflection. Because what does Floyd have to prove? Absolutely nothing. And the fact that Floyd is 47 years old, still walking around 150 something pounds. Yet you have no problem wanting to fight Floyd. And question, this rematch that you crave so much with Floyd, what weight class is that supposed to take place, huh? See, but of course people want to act dumb like they don't see what's happening. So I feel like Canelo see the threat in Crawford's skill level. He can't possibly be worried about, I won't get credit. No, yes, you will. Canelo Alvarez could fight Howard Stern, and people would still give him credit for that fight. It wouldn't matter. So, For him to sit here and fight Edgar Berlanga, for him to fight anybody that no one cared to see him fight. Edgar Berlanga is a freaking prospect. A prospect. And for the people that say, yeah, but Crawford fought a guy with only 11 pro fights. Yeah, I've been telling y'all dumbasses that from day one. This guy, 154 pounds, Madrimov, a lot of amateur experience, but I see nothing in this guy's arsenal that shows that he even belongs in the ring with Terrence Crawford. Now, as far as him landing the money shot and getting him out of there, is it possible? Okay, it's a fight, shit can happen. But who really thought Madrimov was going to beat Crawford, really? Now, all of a sudden, nobody's talking about Madrimov. And I told you, man, this is nothing but talk just to try to build up to make Crawford look like Superman when he goes in there and beat him. And then now is more interest in this Canelo fight. And you had people even going so far to say that Madrimov was better than Canelo. So, once again, who you want to win doesn't mean they're going to win. And basically, when we look at certain fighters, the thing is, when you get a certain age, you get to a point, like example, you don't see Crawford adding more things to his game. You see Crawford doing what Crawford knows how to do. You understand what I'm saying? So, he's great at what he does all around the board. You see Canelo doing what he does. You know, Canelo's solid with his style. Now, you're not going to see anything really different from these guys. Something new, something we never saw them do before. And pretty much what Crawford has versus what Canelo has is what it's going to come down to. That's what it comes down to with any two fighters. But when you get this age, you've been in the game for so long, you don't see fighters really do anything new. Now, do I think that this fight's actually going to happen? I don't know. More than likely, when a fighter continues to bring up other names, like I don't see what the purpose is of you fighting Crawford, but you're constantly talking about fighting Floyd. You know, like when he was fighting Berlanga, when he was getting in here with these guys, Jaime Munguia, guys that nobody wanted to see him fight. Same guy that said he don't want to fight Mexicans but fought a Mexican. You know, it's not like Jaime Munguia was the first Mexican he fought. But I look at these intangibles and I say skill for skill, Crawford. Being able to take Canelo's shot is really the only thing that I'm focused on in terms of a downside for Crawford. And Canelo has shown that he can take a big punch. Like I said before, pinpoint accuracy can be a difference maker. But do you really think in your mind for 1 second that Canelo's reason for not wanting to fight Crawford is because he's not going to get credit? Well, if that's the case, he's a hypocrite because Dimitri Bivol already kicked his ass at 175 and everybody cried he was too small. So Bivol says, I have no reason to fight you again at 175. What's the rematch for at 175? I want to beat you at 168. This is the weight class that you claim you're unbeatable at. So therefore now there's no excuses regardless. There's going to always be an excuse for certain people. But of course, Mauricio is protecting Canelo and Canelo's hiding behind that wall of protection because he could easily say, listen, I don't have to defend the WBC in this fight, but I want this fight. Canelo doesn't want to fight Dimitri. He doesn't want to fight Dimitri Bivol. He doesn't want to fight him again. He knows the difference. Now, in Terrence Crawford, and let me say, Dimitri Bivol's case, he doesn't bring up Canelo. Only when someone brings it up in a conversation, he kind of tries to dismiss it because he don't really want to talk about Canelo. And like he says, I'm not focused on Canelo. If it's the fight, if he would want to fight, yes, I would love to make the fight at 168. But I'm not worried about Canelo. This is what it needs to be. And at least if for him to even respond to that, we're talking about two active fighters. Floyd's 47 doing exhibitions and still not fighting at 160 pounds, 168 pounds. But that's the fight that he wants so much. So I don't really have confidence that the fight is going to actually happen between Terrence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. And if the fight doesn't happen, which it probably won't, but if it doesn't happen, it's not going to be because Crawford, unless Crawford legitimately gets injured or something, he won't be the one to say no. We know it'll be Canelo. Now, for the people who get in their feelings because you tell the truth, I don't really give a shit, regardless. But Canelo is showing no interest in fighting Crawford. And in fact, he's pretty much walking around and just pick and choose, duck, 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 goose. I can do what I want. So when him and Crawford has that one thing in common where they're both saying, I'm at a point in my career where I can do whatever I want. Well, you see, what sucks for Crawford is when Canelo used those same words against him. Because I don't need you, Crawford. And he doesn't need Crawford. And it's not that Crawford needs him. Crawford just chooses to want this fight. And at the same time, now Crawford did say something in a recent interview where guy asked him, did you ever at any point think about undisputed at this point in your career at 154? And he said, nah, not at all. Nah, Crawford, you did say you wanted to be undisputed. You said that just in, what do you say? In just 2 or 3 fights, you could be undisputed champion. You did say that. And you did say you wanted to be undisputed. And you said you wasn't worried about Canelo because you guys knew more than likely Canelo didn't want to fight. Okay. So the words came out of your mouth. Yeah. You definitely said that shit. But I don't think that's a bad thing. When he said, when you look at the landscape at 154, yeah, that's exactly what I said back then. Fundora's no world beater. Zoo is, come on, man. Zoo was the one-dimensional, man. Zoo was hungry, and he had that style. He comes in and he's going to make a fight exciting. But Jermell Charlo is like on a shelf, and we haven't heard from him since he lost to Canelo. We kept hearing a couple of times he's back, a couple of times Jamal is back, and then nothing happens. Okay, but when you look at that, that's the whole point that what I was saying. Is look at the landscape at 154. You can say it's an accomplishment, but okay, and yeah, you can't take that from him. But at the same time, if you're going to look at fighting Canelo like that's bigger than you fighting for undisputed, well, you might find yourself in a position where the only big fight that you can actually get is against who? Is against Errol Spence. Okay? But Errol Spence is another one, which I feel like Errol Spence has really done. His better years are behind him. I don't even see a point for Spence to come back, honestly. It's just too much going on, which we don't know about. But whatever it is keeping Errol Spence from getting back in that ring. Now, he also said something else in that video. He said that people say that Crawford, you're doing this just for the money or whatever. And he said, I've been getting money. I've been making money. That's one of the reasons when I look at him saying, what's the purpose of saying, if you want me to fight against Jerron Boots Ennis, give me $20 million. Now, out of his mouth, he says he been getting money. Okay. So when I say he doesn't want to fight against Boots because he wants the fights that will get him the 20 million, 30. Of course, it's not necessary to even talk about these things in interviews where the fights are not going to happen the way that you want them to, or the fights that people want to see that you can make happen, you won't make happen because you forget things that you say. Then you say something else different. And just to say, oh, he changed his mind. Well, let's say that that's the case, that he changed his mind. You still said what you said. And the point of me bringing all of this up is because Crawford has said some things that you can go and look on video and say, nah, Crawford, you said that shit. Canelo has said some things where you can go back and look in video and say, nah, Canelo, you said that shit. So when you start saying things and trying to put yourself in a position to look like I'm the it factor, I'm the big dog here, it doesn't really matter. It just comes down to, are you guys going to fight or not? Real simple. And the way things are looking and the way things have been looking, I say, for me personally, I don't stick around crossing my fingers and waiting. When something happens, it happens. And we watch a good fight, we enjoy the fight, or we don't. But that's just as far as it goes. Boxing news has become like a boxing bore because it's all just talk, talk, talk. Okay? And the reality of it all is, I don't care about your personal grievances. We're all interested in just the fights. The real fight fans. It's not about fighter fans. It's the real fight fans. We don't care about all that other drama. That's between y'all. Y'all guys troll each other. You get in front of the camera and talk all this shit. 1 minute, I'm not worried about this fight. The next minute, it's on. Yo, I want this fight. The next minute, oh, I don't care. I'm not interested. The next minute, oh yeah, we can make the. So, I mean, which is it? Which is it? Anyways, people grow up. Grow up. And look at things logically. Stop thinking and speaking in a way of trying to fit in with other people, because at the end of the day, you can't talk them into fighting. Either they both want it or it's not going to happen. Never fall in love with lies. Remember, the truth brings the other people. Now, I will catch you guys on the next video.
And one more thing. For all of the race fans and all the jigaboos out there that all of a sudden is now making videos saying Terrence Crawford is on steroids because he's 180 plus pounds, he's bulked up. Isn't it funny how you guys are saying all of that right now? But there's no proof. There's no drug test he failed. Somehow racist Ryan Garcia failed his drug test, didn't honor his contract, disrespected the sport. You understand what I'm saying? And was found guilty. And y'all still made excuses for him. You race fans and you jigaboos. Y'all all the same.